Hi there, fourth graders. It's Miss Hess here. Hope you guys are doing well out there. So, last week we did a nonfiction book about rocks, right? Remember that? So, I know that you guys in science are studying soil, rocks, and landforms. So, sure enough, as you can see on my screen, we are going to do a nonfiction book today about landforms. So the book is titled What is a Landform? And it is by Louise Spilberry. Okay, and here we have our table of contents that, of course, is in the beginning of every nonfiction book. We are going to be reading about 11 different landforms. It's from the plains through islands. 11 different landforms in this book today. So buckle up. Here we go. Hopefully this will add a little bit to the learning that you guys are already doing. And as a side note, I am not going to read all the captions in these nice little text boxes here. I am just going to read the main text, and I'll leave the captions to you guys, okay? All right, here we go. Landforms of the world. Nearly 3/4 of Earth's surface is covered with water, mostly oceans. The rest of Earth's surface is covered in land that is incredibly varied. It ranges from huge mighty mountains to dark caves deep underground, from hills of sand in the desert to islands. These and other features, shapes, and types of land are called landforms. Landforms vary around the world. Australia has large areas of sandy desert, and Nepal has many mountains. I've been there. Most landforms form slowly, for example, when rock is gradually worn down by erosion. Some landforms form more quickly, for example, when hot lava from underground bursts out onto the surface and hardens. And now we're on to the next one, which is plains. Plains are wide, flat, nearly treeless areas of land surrounded by areas of higher land. These common landforms cover around 1/3 of all land on Earth. That's a lot, actually. They are found on all continents except Antarctica. Many plains are covered by grassland. These are areas where mainly grass grows and animals such as zebra, deer, and bison live. Plains form in different ways. Some develop by coast when rivers slow down as they meet the sea. The tiny pieces of rock the rivers erode stop moving, drop, and pile up in flat plains surrounding the river. Other plains form when seas or lakes fill with eroded sediment that has been washed or blown off the surrounding land. And our next form is plateaus. Plateaus are high, flat areas of land that range in size from a few yards to hundreds of miles wide. Some plateaus were formed when the land was pushed upward. The Tibetan Plateau rose when two enormous slabs of rock underground pushed into each other, forming a flat, raised area. Other plateaus formed when layer upon layer of lava built up. Many plateaus formed when existing mountains and plains were eroded at their tops or edges. Flat-topped hills with steep sides are called mesas. Similar plateaus are called buttes. And that's not butts, fourth graders. I know what you're thinking. There are many mesas and buttes in the southwestern United States, such as Monument Valley. Our next landform is mountains. Mountains are the steepest, highest landforms on Earth. Many have a pointed or jagged peak. Some are in rows called mountain ranges. The Himalaya mountain range includes Mount Everest. Its peak is more than 5 miles high. It formed when underground slabs of rock collided, making surface rock crumple into folds. Some mountains form above cracks in Earth's surface. The rock on one side of the crack can rise above the other. Other mountains form when volcanoes erupt many times and layers of hard lava build up. The highest mountain on Earth is a volcanic mountain called Mauna Kea in Hawaii, Mississippi State. It is more than 6 miles from its base at the ocean floor to its peak. And I've actually been up there. It is so high that it's very difficult to breathe up there, and you can't walk around very fast. It's really cool. There's huge telescopes up there. Okay, next landform is hills. Hills are another raised landform. They are not as high as mountains, though there is no official difference between the two. Some hills formed when rocks collapsed or when blocks of land rose. Others grew when magma or other liquid masses pushed up from under the ground, causing the land to bulge. Hills also form by erosion. Sometimes ancient mountain rock is broken down over thousands of years by the action of ice forming on rock and then cracking it open. Rain and wind carry pieces of rock away and the mountain shrinks. Sometimes new hills can form when their eroded pieces pile up too. Hey, and guys, I know that you may not be able to even focus on reading all these captions as I'm reading through this. And just remember, you can always go back and rewatch this video and just pause. Don't even worry about my voice. You can just pause on the page and read it yourself, okay? Because, maybe some of you out there are budding geologists or something, so you might be super interested in this. All right, next landform is glaciers. Although glaciers themselves are not landforms, they create landforms. Glaciers are large areas of thick ice that remain frozen from one year to the next. Glaciers also slowly flow over the land. They exist all over the world, from Antarctica to mountainous points along the equator. Glaciers form when layers of snow and ice collect in gaps between high mountains and freeze into a solid lump of ice. Glaciers wear down mountains. Their edges freeze onto and then pull off chunks of rock as they pass. They push along rock and soil in front of them. The front of the glacier melts. I got to back up there. The front of a glacier melts when it reaches warmer places, leaving piles of rocks and soil there. Remember, good readers, when they're reading aloud, even when they're adults, should always back up and reread when you read something that doesn't sound right? Okay. Moving along to the next landform, which are valleys. Valleys are long stretches of lower land between hills or mountains. Most valleys form where water wears away rock or soil. Rainwater runs off slopes into grooves, forming streams. Streams wash away soil, making a narrow, shallow valley. Over time, the streams turn into rivers, with more water to erode sediment from the valley sides and base. The valley gets deeper and wider. In cold places, glaciers can form in river valleys. They erode these valleys into wider glacier valleys. Other valleys, such as the Rift Valley in Africa, formed when a section of Earth's rock dropped lower than the surrounding land. Wow, that's a beautiful picture up there, isn't it? On to canyons. Canyons are some of the most spectacular valleys on Earth. They are especially deep, narrow valleys, often with steep, high sides. One of the biggest of them all is, sure enough, the Grand Canyon. This remarkable landform has taken 6 million years to form. It is the result of the Colorado River eroding the Colorado Plateau. Canyons with very steep sides are called gorges. They form where rivers carve through weak areas of rock. Sand dunes. Sand is made up of tiny pieces of rock eroded from large rocks. Sand is light, so wind can blow it around. In places with lots of sand, such as big beaches or deserts, wind piles sand up into hills called sand dunes. The biggest sand dunes are hundreds of yards high. Sand dunes grow and change over time. The side facing the wind has a gradual slope. It builds up as wind moves the sand grains on top of other grains. Once the dune becomes too steep, one side may fall, leaving a steeper slope. Dunes can move many feet each year, depending on how strong the winds are. And it's really cool. I don't know if any of you have been able to do it, but I have read before that you can actually ride almost like sleds down sand dunes. I've heard people go out and do that. That would be fun, I think. All right, and then our next landform is caves. Caves are underground landforms. They are holes that usually form in limestone. First, rainwater gets underground by soaking into rocks and through cracks. Then it wears away limestone, making gaps that widen over time to form caves. Caves range in size from tiny passages to huge systems of connected rooms and tunnels. The world's longest cave system is in Kentucky. It is more than 350 miles long. That is cool. Inside limestone caves, there are many features formed by minerals and water. Minerals and water that drip into the cave can build into shapes called stalactites, which hang from the roof. Other forms, called stalagmites, grow up where the water splashes onto the floor. Cool, huh? Coastlines. Coastlines are the places where land meets sea. They are shaped by waves. Waves hit rocks with great force, break off pieces, and wash them away. They force air into cracks and split open rocks. Waves also break rocks when they toss sand and stones against them. Waves erode coastlines to make sure features such as cliffs and coves, which look like giant bites in the coastline. Coastlines are also formed when waves drop the sediment they are carrying at the edge of land. Beaches form in bays where sand and broken shells collect. Spits are long ridges of sand or rock pieces that stick out from the coastline into the sea. Islands. Islands are areas of land completely surrounded by water. They may be very small or large, as Greenland and Australia. Islands form in different ways. Some islands were once attached to a larger area of land but were separated by land erosion. Other islands are volcanoes that erupted underwater. Gradually, the lava builds up until the top of the volcano reaches above the water to form an island. Some islands are only islands for part of the day. When the tide is out, you can walk across land to these islands. When the tide comes in again, water covers the land between the two, and the island is completely surrounded by water. Changing landforms. Landforms are always changing. Some change very slowly over thousands of years as they erode. Others change more quickly. People change landforms when they use machines to dig holes in the Earth's surface to get coal or other useful substances. The rocks and soil they dig out are often piled up to create new hills too. Sometimes people create new land. The southern tip of Manhattan, New York City, was extended by landfill to increase the size of the island. In the Netherlands, water was pumped out of marshy land so people could live and farm on it. People also protect landforms to stop them from changing. National parks are places where people are not allowed to alter the landforms. And then we're at the end of our book. I'm sorry I'm kind of fast. I only have 15 minutes for my videos. So you guys know that every nonfiction book ends with a glossary, which is the special words that are defined from the text. Have a good day. Take care and happy landform learning. See you soon, guys.